Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. You know, if you're playing a game or a sport, checkers, chess, basketball, you don't allow somebody to cheat. You call them out if they move a rook or a pawn the wrong way. If you're playing basketball with somebody and they travel or they foul you, you call the foul, you know, because there's rules to those things. You know, or if you're driving down the street and somebody tries to take a turn when you have the right of way, you'll honk at them or whatever. You need to do the same thing in family court. One of the most common ways that people cheat in family court is an attorney of the other side will come in and testify. Attorneys are not allowed to testify. I emphasize in several different videos that when the rules of evidence are violated, you have an unfair hearing. The rules of evidence were created to keep out evidence that's not reliable. So, under the rules of professional conduct 3.7 for attorneys, attorneys are not allowed to testify and be an advocate in the same hearing anyway. If they're going to act like a witness, then they need to step down as an attorney and become a witness. So here's an example a lot of times of what attorneys will do. And I've brought it up before, and I keep talking to people who watch my videos or even get my rule of evidence video or go and study. Well, usually the rule of evidence video, I make this really clear, but people who go and I tell them go study the rules of evidence, they totally miss this. It's like people don't care to take this stuff seriously. When you learn this stuff and somebody violates it, you need to call them out instead of letting it happen. Your life with your kid is on the line, and the way the court decides will dictate your life with your kid. And if somebody comes in and cheats to try and get an upper hand on getting your kid or kids, why would you just let it go or let it slide? Why are you not paying attention or caring enough about the rules to learn them? If you got an attorney, you shouldn't have to do it. But your attorney is letting the stuff slide, and you're paying an attorney $400 an hour, and I show you my videos, stuff like this. Or if you got a one-on-one consult with me, you can learn all this stuff. And you guys just let it slide like you don't care. One of the most common examples is when an attorney adds to the story. Now listen very, very carefully. Let's say the mother says that you're an alcoholic. And then you go into court and then you have your court hearing and the attorney says, you know, we're concerned the father's an alcoholic. Now the attorney can say that because a witness who has been around you testifies that you drink too much. Okay? Now think about it. The attorney doesn't know you from Adam. Outside of bumping into you in the courthouse or bumping you in the court hallways, even if you do something in the court hallways, they can't testify because remember, they can't testify and then be a witness and an advocate, or they'll testify to win their case. There's a conflict of interest there. If they want to testify, they need to step down. If they decide to testify and the court doesn't make them step down, then I call them as a witness. I called my baby's mom's attorney as a witness for her relocation case against me. She tried to 2003 tried to stop me from moving 30 miles from Seattle to Tacoma while she lived in Los Angeles. We were in court for a year and a half. Her attorney kept saying I'm stupid, fat, ugly, I'm abusive, I'm going to be dangerous in the future. I will fight anybody who disagrees with me in the future. I'm mentally ill, all this stuff. So I called them as a witness to testify about it. And they didn't plan on going to trial. It was all a big bluff, and I called their bluff. A lot of you guys would have quit and surrendered and given the mother the whole house. Not the house, but given her a whole bunch of rights that she didn't deserve because of their bluff. I called their bluff and waited it out. And then they showed that they were bluffing. So, if an attorney comes to court and says the father is an alcoholic, now I can hear some of you right now. Oh, you just went off on a tangent. You go. Every time I think of something or say something, I'm giving you another point or another example that I actually did this and actually lived this. Because men want to cry, whine, piss, and moan. That's too hard. I'm not as smart as you, James, or you had it easy. I'm telling you the stuff that I've gone through. So when I tell you to grow some balls and be a man and fight this stuff, that I actually went through and did it myself. And I was in the same position as you, where I didn't know what you know. Or I didn't know anything, just like you don't know. or you didn't know any less than what I knew at the time. And actually, you know more because I'm giving you all these free videos on YouTube. So when I go off on a tangent and stuff, you're getting free information. Why are you whining and crying, pissing and moaning? You're not whining and crying about your attorney you're paying $400 an hour that isn't doing the stuff that I'm talking about. So have some patience. We're talking about rescuing your life with your kid. And there's all kinds of guys who show the thong that they're wearing or their feminine side of their fruity, limp-wristed cowardice by saying, oh, he's going off on a tangent. I can't wait to the end of the video for 10 minutes out of my life to help figure out how to rescue my life. If I told you there's so many advertisements out there where people are making millions of dollars. And what they do is they'll do a video and they'll say, I'm about to tell you this. I'm about to tell you that. I'm about to tell you this. And they don't get around to the answer for 40 or 50 minutes. And then you got to read through 50 pages of stuff and they're still selling their products. But when it comes to fighting for their own kids, guys can't wait like 5 or 10 minutes for me to finish up all the points or take notes. Grow some balls, dude. So anyway, attorneys will come in and say, we're concerned the father's an alcoholic. We want to get an alcohol assessment and completing treatment, and he gets no visitation while we're trying to figure out if he has a problem. That's another issue is they'll suspend your visitation while they're trying to prove that you have a problem to fit the allegation. That's backwards. You guys should be fighting that. You don't know how to fight that? Get a consult with me. That's another problem. Everybody wants to figure all this stuff out and it magically go away without a consult, without paying the price, without studying this stuff yourself. It's overwhelming sometimes to deal with all the laws and all the information and everything. That's why I make myself available at a very cheap rate to get a consult so you can learn this stuff. But you guys don't want to do that, or 99% of you don't want to do it. And about 40% of the people who do call me are a no-show. And then 2 months later, when they grow some balls, they're like, hey, can I get a consult? I'm like, no, you're on my list. You didn't show up 4 times. I got up early on the weekend when I was exhausted to wait for you, and you didn't show up. No, I don't trust you. You blew it over and over. I can't trust you now. Now, if I was a greedy con artist, I'll take all comers and I would just take whatever money I got. But I'm not putting up with stupidity. I'm not putting up with a guy who really doesn't want to fight. If you really want to fight, you'll call me. But people in the comments, just full of a bunch of excuses why not to fight and whining and crying. I'll have answers in the videos that they didn't even listen to, and they complain that they lost because of this issue or that. I have answers on how to fight contempt or defend contempt, and they lose the contempt motion. I'm like, the answer was in the video. Did you not watch it? They just want to whine, cry, and piss and moan. It's insane. So, back to my main point. So an attorney will say, the father's an alcoholic. But look at his face. It's all red and flesh. We think he's doing cocaine too. Objection, the attorney's testifying. Shut that crap down right there. Have you ever seen your attorney object to the other side's attorney testifying? I bet you haven't. Your attorney is letting them violate the rules of evidence. If the rules of evidence are violated, then they're allowing inadmissible evidence into court, which makes an unfair advantage, which makes for an unfair hearing. When you have an unfair hearing, you don't have due process. When you don't have due process, the judgment is void. Did you catch that? Now I'm 8 minutes in and I just gave you something that your $400 an hour attorney that you spent $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 on has never even attempted to do. Was it worth the wait? Well, it's only worth the wait if you grow some balls and actually have your attorney object to that stuff in court, or you do it yourself, which is the way I would do it. I would never have an attorney unless it's to do a deposition that I can't get done myself. An attorney comes in, well, the father did this and that. The father's really hostile in his emails toward me. Objection, the attorney's testifying. And on top of that, my letters to the attorney who's harassing me and being hostile toward me, what does that got to do with my parenting? How is that even relevant? We're here to discuss whether I can parent this child, and this game-playing, juvenile, middle school attorney is reaching and trying to say, well, he wasn't nice to me in a letter when I personally attacked him while I'm trying to take his constitutional right to his kids away. So he must not be a good father. I would argue, and I would say that's what they're saying. That's asinine. If this court allows that, you're allowing something irrelevant, ER 402, you're allowing something that violates ER 403, which you need to know by heart. If you don't know it and don't know these things, get my rules of evidence video, get a consult with me, or study them until you know and understand them. And if they're confusing, get a consult with me or my rules of evidence. You have all the answers. The answers are out there and available. These people who say, I wish I would have known you 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that's a bitch-made excuse. You could have found me back then. I've been out here on the internet for 15, 16, 17 years in one form or another. Websites I had before, this YouTube channel. I've been out here. I've had 3 different websites that conked out on me, or the first service sucked from Vistaprint. But in any case, and the last service, I got to redo that. Somebody conned me on that. That's why I'm learning more and more. Just not just in court. You want something done right, you got to do it yourself. So anyway, attorneys testify in family court all the time. Why do you let it happen? Why do you are letting it happen? Why do you let it happen? Why do you let them do this to you? What's your excuse? Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Have you been watching me for more than a week? You should have learned all this stuff by either getting a consult with me or watching all my videos if you care about your case. As soon as I found my mentor with Dads America, I talked to that guy as much as possible. Dennis Gack from the National Brotherhood of Fathers' Rights. He gave me a couple things. He was kind of a little bit of a hustler, but he still had information that was helpful. And then when I found the court rules, I went and bought a book on the court rules so that I could look up the rules. When I found out about the RCW, the statute in Washington for determining custody, I looked that stuff up. When I found out how to look up case law, there was before we had Lexis available in Washington State, the Washington State Legislature had a legal research tool. I would look up a topic there. I would actually do stuff that was consistent with my desire to fight for my kid. If you want your kid and want to fight for your kid and you sit on your ass and do nothing, you don't give a shit. You're a pussy. You're a coward. Now, you could change that and do something. But, I've talked to guys and broken down their excuses. I just did a video about there's no excuse. I've talked to a lot of guys lately where they say, well, it's too hard, the system, too much information, opposition from the other side, there's the police on their side, the cops, the guardian lion, this and that. All things that I overcome and knew how to fight and deal with, and so did thousands of my clients. I had a guy ask me the other day, when was the last time you were in court? I'm in court right now. What now? What now? Guys are just looking for an excuse, so in their mind they could say, well, James had it easier. Every excuse people give me gets shut down because every excuse you had was the excuse I could have had to be a punk ass bitch and quit. And I didn't. Because I took the hard route because my child, you see that picture of my child back there? I had her since she was a baby because I had this mentality from the beginning. And her mom tried to take me to court and drag me to court and screw me over several other times. And then the last time I was in court with her, I was trying to get college tuition support and the judge didn't give it to me, but I gave it a shot. And then I was in and out of court starting in 2022 when I got a domestic violence protection order against the lady. And I'm going to sue my city and the other people who didn't arrest her when she violated it. And when they wouldn't renew my protection order because she's a poor little victim because I had a different judge with a different opinion than all the other judges who said she was a violent monster, I'm appealing that now. So I've been in and out of court. So I tell people stuff and they don't believe me. And this is what really happens. When you get confronted that you don't have an excuse, you want to say, well, what about you? What are you doing? And you guys don't have anything on me if you're trying to mind trick yourself into why you have an excuse to be a pussy, sissy coward and not fight for your kid. There's no excuse. I was a warehouse worker who flunked out of college. The mother had an emergency restraining order against me right away. I didn't even know about a motion to quash. I went and responded. I could have had that thing knocked out the next day. So I was in court for a month. We had a court hearing 2 weeks after I got served. Then the judge did a continuance until we got to family court to get a parenting plan. He said, go get a parenting plan, come back here, and then we'll deal with it later. Because he wanted to get rid of the restraining order because he was like, this doesn't amount to vicious, violent, whatever. I see through the mother's bullcrap. The dad made, James made good arguments. The mother's full of crap. So, James made good arguments. The mother's full of crap. So he continued it for what? He continued it for 2 weeks. And then we went back to court. And then he said, "Did you get a parenting plan?" I said, "No, I finally got around to it, but we have a hearing another 2 weeks from now." So he continued the temporary restraining order, and then it fell off. He goes, "Well, I'm not going to give her a full protection order." So I had a month where I was getting screwed and delayed and didn't see my daughter. Then she got an attorney. Then I went to court and I lost and I got 0 visitation. The vast majority of you would have quit right then and there. I went to family court, went in front of a family law commissioner, and I lost. And they said, "You're doing a great job with financial stuff, but we got to get a guardian ad litem on board to investigate you." 0 visitation. I could have quit then. That was extremely discouraging. Then she got an attorney, and the attorney's like, "You look real bad not letting him ever see the child. Why don't you let him have a couple hours or whatever?" And if anybody would have, if I would have had anybody, my mentors didn't even tell me this. If I had anybody who had some balls who would have told me, "Hey, when you get your kid on Friday, just keep her all throughout the weekend to prove you can have overnights." And then I would have said, "Well, what about the cops for all this? Don't be a bitch. Just tell the cops this and that, blah, blah." And I would have done it. And I would have had overnight visitation sooner. But my first hearing I lost. The mother started letting me have visits because she got an attorney who said, "Hey, you look really stupid. He hasn't seen his kid in 40 days. You're going to look really bad." And she did look really bad when I got in front of a judge. But I appealed that decision from a commissioner to a judge. She showed up with her attorney, who she got right away. But she showed up with an attorney, and the attorney says, "I need more time," which delayed it further down the road. Then when I finally got in front of a judge, I got 5 days a week visitation. Now, it was only 4 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. The mom worked 4 10s, and then Saturday, 8 hours. But I had 5 times out of a week, I saw my daughter for a significant amount of time, which I think was huge because the repetition was more important than a full weekend every other weekend, I think. And that made the transition even better. So my point is, mother's withholding the child. We have conflict. She goes get a restraining order. I go to family court. I went to the court and I talked to a clerk, and they said, "You got to go to the public prosecutor to start a case." And they gave me some bad advice, and I followed it because I didn't know. And then they started a case against me for child support. And then I said, "I'm already on the birth certificate. I already started a parenting plan case," so that dropped off. So I wasted a whole bunch of time. And you guys don't have to waste time because you have somebody like me giving you the shortcuts. It took me 2.5 months to get my first visitation order. And I was going through hell, and it was tormenting. I didn't see my daughter on my birthday, and my mom and sister took me out for my birthday, and they're like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And the whole thing I was thinking was just to see my daughter, and I almost started crying in front of them, but I had to play that off. I hated going to my mailbox to open it up, to open up the next envelope from the attorney and deal with the trauma of what a monster I am and the next false allegation. I hated doing that, but I had to do it. My life with my kid is on the line. And then I got the mother found in contempt, and I got dad after dad after dad that doesn't even try to do a contempt motion for months or years. How do you let somebody steal something and you never call the cops? Calling the cops in family court for a violation of a parenting plan is contempt. That's the equivalent of, you would never wait a week or months and let somebody come and rob your house and rob your house and rob your house again and say, "Why do they keep doing this? I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if the cops will help me." You call the cops the day that it happens. But when your baby's mom steals your kid from you, you're such a henpecked little punk ass bitch. You're like, "Well, what do I do now? I'm just going to wallow in it. There's nothing I can do. I feel defeated. So I'm going to sit in my feelings and just feel this pain and agony and just be the nice guy. And I'm going to win some Boy Scout points and get a medal for being nice." While the mother abuses your children and brainwashes them while she keeps them from you on your court-ordered time for a month, 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years. The last Father's Rights Movement meeting I went to, there was a dad who said he hadn't seen his kids in a year and a half. I said, "Do a contempt motion." He said, "I already tried." I said, "How many times?" "Once, and I lost." So the first time they give them a slap on the wrist or a warning. The second time they give them a harsher warning. The third time maybe they fine them in contempt or give jail time. The pussy ass bitch quit on his kids the first try. I got my baby's mom found in contempt on my first try because I went in aggressively and I jumped on it immediately when it happened. You are your own worst enemy if you don't find out and learn everything that you need to know, and if you don't do everything that you find out. And half the guys that I deal with, when they actually do listen to me or take notes or get a consult or watch my videos, they don't do the stuff that I'm talking about. If a personal trainer gives you a diet and a weightlifting and exercise regimen to follow, and it's worked for 100% of his clients, and you don't do it, you're a dumbass. Especially if you pay for that personal trainer. You know, a lot of gym memberships, they have it figured out. Like, we have this many people who will buy it, and then they'll keep the gym membership, and they'll just pop in once a month, and they'll quit and pop in and quit. So they got all that figured out in the calculations of how they do stuff. Because the average person is a quitter. I don't expect to turn all of my audience around. You know, I only get a couple hundred views a video. Got 7,000 subscribers and followers. A lot of people have succeeded and moved on, or got their butt kicked and moved on, and they're still a subscriber. A lot of people watch my videos and they listen to me and like, yeah, he's right, but it's too hard. Yeah, he's right, but I'm a pussy. Yeah, he's right. I actually had a consult with a guy one time in Europe. And I said, you got to do this and you got to do that. He goes, but I'm too much of a pussy. I can't. I'm scared. Scared of what? I don't know. I'm just scared. People are scared of nothing. They're comfortable in their being scared. But isn't that more torment? Like, if you go and try something and you fail at it and you still survive, you feel way better than you do if you're scared and you never try it, because there's the torment of regret of not trying it or suffering the consequences still. A lot of times just getting on the offensive in family court gives you a win, because the other side will realize, oh, wow, he's getting on the offensive. I don't want to fight him that much anymore. And women surrender and they settle and they work stuff out. I don't know what else to say. I got on here to talk about, you guys need to be shutting down attorneys. If you let attorneys come in and testify and the evidence rules being violated, you got a whole avalanche of evidence that should never be considered by the court, and they're using that evidence to take your kid away. Why are you tolerating that? The only possible answer is you don't know. And if you're watching this video, you've been watching my videos, you should have known by now. And if you have gotten a consult with me or watch my videos and say, go read the rules of evidence study, you didn't study hard enough, or once you learned that stuff and got that knowledge, just like somebody with a personal trainer gets the knowledge of a regimen or a program, and then you don't do it, you're a dumbass. Stop being a dumbass. Stop being a coward. Stop being a pussy. Your life with your kids online. I'm telling you, after watching this for 23 years, and again, it's ringing in my head right now. The guys that I've talked to the past few weeks, but every single time I said, you got to do this, and this is the way, and it's hard, but you can do it, and other guys have done it. But how many guys have won before and they had an attorney? I've had like 300 guys get full custody without an attorney. And several more do it with an attorney. But there's countless guys who've done it without an attorney. Now what? Well, the system is hard. When was the last time you were in court? What if I hadn't been in court for 20 years? And the stuff that worked for me that won back then is working for people right now. Does that mean it goes away? No, pussy-ass bitches want to find an excuse to not fight because I'm calling people out on their excuses. I'm here to help and to give people information. And most of the time I get a backlash. But this, but that. But she's doing this, and I'm scared, and the system. Everybody's out there making those pussy-ass bitch-made excuses like you are. And so the system's never changing. Why don't you be one of the guys who actually grows some balls and gains some ground in your own case? And then you can start changing the system with that. If everybody just did not everybody's going to do it. If everybody just puts some effort forward, we turn the court system upside down in a few years. But men are a bunch of lazy, pussy bitches and whining, crying crybabies. Everybody talks about how, we're soft nowadays in America or Western civilization. We're not as tough as we used to be. And then I get on here and say, when your child needs to be rescued from a crazy baby mom, the only person that can rescue them is the dad. And the dad says, I need somebody else to do it for me. What the hell? Somebody breaks into your house. Does everybody hide behind the wife? Or does the dad go, oh, I'm scared. Let me go hide. Somebody else do it for me. Somebody else go get the robbers for me. It's your home. Protect it. Now, that's dangerous. Your life might be on the line, but I mean, what else are you going to do? You send one of your kids to go do it? You're going to send the woman that handpicked you and ran the house to go do it? God, this stuff is so simple to a point. It takes a choice to get on the offensive. If I had if I had me now, back then, my case would have been so easy. Everything I know now, I had to learn by blood, sweat, and tears. And I serve it up for you guys. And here's the information. And I show you winning court orders. And I tell you, I don't play around. It's not easy. But if you do these things, what you're doing and losing, not seeing your kids for 6, 10, 8 months, giving yourself an ulcer, isn't that's easy for you? That's easy? Is it easy to not see your kids and be tormented? No, it's not. It's hell. So why don't you go through a little bit of hell and step outside of your feelings and your lazy plush little cushion you have and get off your ass and grow some balls and at least try some of the stuff that I tried and thousands of other guys have tried that's worked. I just posted a testimony of a guy getting 50-50. Is anybody looking at that? A couple hundred guys are. I got 7,000 followers not looking at it. And then you got guys who, I have a video section, James versus the Father's Rights Movement. James versus, I forgot what that one guy's name is. Steve Maeda. He says, you got to get an attorney. I went to court and I had an attorney and I lost and got totally creamed. So you guys got to get an attorney because the court system is hard to navigate. Stupid sellout, punk ass, bitch made, low IQ, dumbass Neanderthal. He's up here and he lost in court and he's telling people you can't represent yourself in court. It's tough. You got to go out and get an attorney. And he got an attorney and got creamed. It's insane what people do and what they listen to. And the people who lose in court are at the forefront of giving information and advice. And here I am. I show you my winning court orders. But where do you show our winning court orders, James? In the link that's below every single video that I tell you guys to go look at. And most numbnuts don't even look at the free stuff. Like, how are you trying to convince me that you care about your kids? And I got all these free videos. I got a link to free information that you can use that I didn't even have in my case. I didn't even have this stuff. And I won without the stuff I'm sharing with you guys. So you guys are at an advantage that I was. And you have easy access through the internet to do your case from your bed. When I had to take time off of work or go down to the courthouse and take half a day and pay for parking and get out and drop copies off at the clerk's office and the judge's working copies mailroom and go across town, not across town, but to the, 20 miles to drive and drop a copy off at the lawyer's office. Spend $100 at Kinko's for all the copies. You guys can type something up, turn it into a PDF and e-file it for free and e-serve the other side for free. And you're complaining? You got it 100 times easier than I did. And you're complaining? And you got somebody who can coach you through the whole thing. I have people I've worked with for 10 or 15 years. Got one dad who got full custody of his 2 daughters in their teenage years. And he was up and down all over the place. He found me. I told him how to fight. He got scared. He got an attorney. And the attorney sold him out and screwed him over. Then he went back to modify. He got attorneys again. And they screwed him over. And then he finally came on board way behind the 8 ball. He goes to court and he gets kind of screwed over. And then he fights a battle for like a year and then he gets full custody. Almost none of you guys got the balls to do something like that. But most guys that I deal with in the first year, let me tell you again like this. Half the guys, if they get on the offensive from the beginning and fight the right way, their case is over in a month or two. Because the mother surrenders because she doesn't want to fight that fight. She's just talking shit. Most of you guys are terrorized of a mother who's talking shit to you and falsely accusing you in court, and you jump through all the court's hoops and you never get on the offensive, and that's the solution, and you do all this other stuff, and then by the time your case gets close to trial, when you've been ignoring what I told you works, and you listen to your dumbass attorney or the dumbass clerk at the court, or I have guys who constantly tell me, but the clerk told me this, but the cops told me this, but my cousin's brother's uncle told me this. How many hearings did the uncle win? Oh, he got creamed in his divorce. Why the frick are you listening to a loser? Every single angle, every single way I look at it and think about it, when guys make excuses or why they're in the situation they're in, it's insane. And you got all the answers out here for free. If you want to make your court case a 24/7 battle and take all my free videos and learn how to fight for free, it can be done. There's guys who have done it. It's rare because you got to make it an obsession. Or you can get a consult with me and learn shortcuts and save yourself hours, days, weeks, or even months of trying to figure this stuff out. And then if you actually do it, half the time you beat the other side down till they start surrendering. That's what happened to me, but it took me 7 months of doing it to figure all that stuff out. I didn't know discovery. Take a look at this example. I had no idea about discovery in my court case. Okay? About 5 months into my court case, the mother's attorney sends me interrogatories with 170 questions. I've had a bunch of sissy little bitch-made dudes say, I answered their questions and then I emailed them to do the same thing and they didn't answer mine, or you didn't do the same thing that they did. My baby's mom's attorney sent me a questionnaire. I got on the computer and I retyped the whole. My baby's mom sent me a questionnaire and I got on the computer and retyped it from scratch. 174 questions. And I give you guys that set of interrogatories with 3 or 4 other samples and a sample request for production, a sample request for admission. I give you like 5 different samples. There's a link to a free one in my flow page that you guys could have been using already if you went to my flow page and paid attention. And part of the war and one of the tools out there is discovery. But my point is, my baby's mom, 5 months into my case, I didn't know anything about interrogatories. As soon as I saw them send something to me with a bunch of questions, I was like, oh my God, they could do this? Let me do this too. Boom. Half of the pussies out there wouldn't even think to do, let me go do the same thing they're doing to me. They just whine, cry, piss and moan. They ask me all these questions and it's so aggravating. It's so hard to answer them. And I gotta do so much work to try and answer them. Why don't you turn around and do the same thing to them? Oh, I didn't think about that. Why not? You have such a lack of self-worth that you just want to be a doormat for the other side. If you're in a boxing match or on a football field and somebody hits you, what normal human beings do is they hit back. Somebody hits you in a court case and you don't think, oh, I can do the same thing. You think, oh God, I'm going to cry, curl up in a ball. Let me go to a father's rights movement meeting so I can spoon with another victim dad and we can play victim and hug each other and make out. The last father's rights movement meeting I was at, when that guy said, I didn't do contempt, I talked to him afterward, and he just didn't want to hear it because he didn't want to fight for his kid. That's really what it comes down to. He just didn't want to do it. And we were there, and there's a guy who's a total fruity little punk-ass bitch of, we're gonna change the system. I'm gonna run for Congress, and I'm gonna be a legislator, and I'm gonna change the laws. And we already have great laws in the books. And all we did was talk about his campaign and making his campaign work. Doing a whole bunch of nothing. That's the last father's rights movement meeting I'll ever go to. That was like 10, 12 years ago. And when I called up father's rights groups in the area to have them go out and volunteer to help these attorneys that were running against corrupt judges during election time, almost nobody showed up. So when we were going to do something and get rid of some corrupt judges, all the dads were a no-show. I've been watching this for 24 years now. I know what I'm talking about. You just got on board and just got a case a few months ago, a year ago, a couple of years. You don't know what the hell you're doing, what the hell you're talking about. And you're going to tell me I had it easy. You're going to tell me because I'm white and I had my baby's mom is black that I got special treatment. You're going to tell me, oh, well, you know a lot more and you're educated on this. I got educated by doing it, you dumbass. Your dumbass excuses don't work. Why are you letting them testify in court when they're not allowed to testify, the mother's attorney? Why are you letting them testify and violate the personal knowledge rule? You don't know what that is? You should have had it memorized by now. Go memorize it. You don't know what I'm talking about at all? Go watch my video on ER 602. Get off your ass and actually put some effort into this stuff. Actually care or show that you care about your kids. If you care about not smoking, you'll go get some smokers, packs or patches, or go get some help. If you care about your alcoholism, you'll go to a meeting or go to rehab. If you care about losing weight, you'll change your diet and go down and get a workout plan. And when you hear what the plan is, you'll actually follow through and do it. If you don't care that much, then just say, I just quit. Stop being a little feminine bitch, because that's what women do. I talk to guys and like, well, what about you? And what about this? And what about that? When was the last time you were in court? My gender is so pathetic, it's ridiculous. It's like, and I don't beat people up when they do consults. If they want to do a consult and want to get to it, then we just get to it. But if they're going to say excuse after excuse after excuse, and I say, why don't you go pick up the kids from school so you can see them? Oh, I don't want a confrontation with the principal. Why? If you were married and you went to the school and the school says, well, your wife usually picks up the kids, I'm not going to let you have the kids, you would be enraged. The only difference right now is that you are dominated and controlled by a Jezebel witch, and you're a punk-ass sissy little bitch. If you change your mentality and stand up to her, things would be different. That's why I do videos and I keep saying this stuff, because the more I talk and the more people I talk to, the more people have excuses. Or in the comments, they say, well, you had it easy because this, and you had it easy because that. I went through hell. Your punk ass, jealous little hater, bitch made feminine mentality is saying, oh, he must have had it easy because it's hard for me and I can't comprehend. So here's another angle of it. It's so hard for you to think you could possibly win because you've dealt with the trauma of the anti-father court system. You don't think it's possible, so you think I got lucky. Because in your little pea-brain, narcissistic little world, if it doesn't work for you, that means everybody else is wrong and it's their fault. No, you were being a pussy-ass bitch and went to court and tried to play nice and didn't go to court and fight the way that you're supposed to fight this stuff. And the more you let it drag out without a fight, and the more you let the other side dominate and control, and you don't stand up for yourself and don't talk bad about them, the more you're losing ground. I came out swinging from the beginning, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I just scratched and clawed, and I learned as I went. Because when you hop on a bike, you learn how to ride a bike. When you take driver's ed, you don't know how to drive a car as well as when you get in the car and do it. When you watch my videos, it doesn't work by itself unless you go do this stuff. If you have a workout program, reading the diet you're supposed to eat, and the exercise regimen doesn't make you skinny. You have to go do it. It's insane that I have to tell grown men this stuff that my sister with Down syndrome can follow. Like, I talk to her and I deal with her and I look out for her, and I'm her co-guardian. So I go over there and care for her sometimes, or help her out, or do some stuff for her. And my mother, who's the main guardian, I tell her to do something and she just does it. I tell a guy to do something like, well, but this and but that. And sometimes my sister might have an excuse, and I'll say, well, here's the explanation why you should do it anyway. And she has medical issues and stuff. You need to do this. You need to take care of yourself this way. Okay, that makes sense. But dads, not dads. Dads will say, oh, well, you had it easy because this and that. I went through hell. And I did not even know about discovery. I didn't know about contempt. When I first got that first order, when I got 0 visitation, and then I went to a judge and appealed from a commissioner to a judge, I didn't know about that until like day 8. And I had 10 days to appeal. But I found it because I was scratching and clawing. Guys who contact me, we get the answers, boom, like this. Where do I file? How do I do it? Boom. There's guys, when I've done paperwork on cases before, served up everything for them. All they had to do was study stuff and study the speech and study some of the evidence rules. Everything was put together just like another case where a dad totally destroyed the mother. But guy A, who applied himself and studied and got ready and got a couple consults with me, went in there and destroyed the mother in court. Guy B didn't do shit. He thought, oh, well, James's work looks really good. Let me not do anything. And he goes in there and gets creamed because he half-assed it because he's a lazy-ass bitch and he doesn't really want to fight for his kid. I've seen guys with the same information and the same opportunity. One guy gets on top of it and gets ready and does stuff. Now, there's cases where, you're going to go in front of a radical feminist, man-hating lesbian judge who got molested by her dad and can't get a man or whatever, who's going to rule against you. But there's still recourse and options after that. And guys will just quit if they get screwed like that. But for the vast majority of cases, when I've seen the same scenario where a dad had the same circumstance, I had a dad from Georgia call me in the middle of the night one night and said, I need to talk to you now. How do I pay you? I need to talk to you. And I was like, I can't get to you for a couple hours. He called me like midnight his time. We talked on the phone for a couple hours. The next day he went into court and he destroyed the mother on contempt. He hadn't seen his daughter in a few months. He fired his attorney. The mother had an attorney with 30 years experience. He got the mother found in contempt. He got makeup time. So instead of every other weekend, it was every weekend to get makeup time for like the next 3 months. And the judge told him to negotiate and tweak the parenting plan to a different scenario so there's no confusion about stuff and nobody can play games, or else she's throwing her in jail for 21 days. That's the difference between a guy who gets on it and sees that I know what I'm talking about and recognizes it and grows some balls and does something about it, as opposed to a guy who watches my videos and is crying, I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. You're in pain, you got you got type 2 diabetes, you got nerve ending pain. And the doctor says if you just change your diet and get off of sugar and all the carbs and stuff for a couple weeks, you'll see less pain. And you say, but I'm in pain, but I'm in pain. And he's giving you the remedy, and you don't want to stop doing what you're doing because you'd rather just sit in comfort of not exerting yourself, and you're still in pain and you're in the same cycle you were in before. I mean, you see stuff like this where people live a self-destructive life, get on drugs, or people are obese and they never change their life and they complain about the condition they're in. And then you see people who decide to do something about it and they get out of it. And both cases, they have the same scenario. So all your punk ass bitch made excuses. Oh, James, you had it easy. Oh, you were in court a long time ago. It's different now. No, it isn't, dumbass. And on top of that, I've been in and out of court for 20 years. So I am fresh and on top of everything. But I don't need to have been in court recently to be able to go and look up the rules and laws that are online right now. Your bitch ass excuses are just that. It's time for guys to stop being pussy ass bitches. And if you don't like my tone, go watch a David Goggins video. Go watch a Cole Robinson video. Those guys are talking to people like that and they're saving their lives and changing lives. Go watch Command the Courtroom. That lady's really nice. She got knowledgeable information. Go watch Judge Anthony when he'll get a testimonial once a week like I do, and he's got 1 million followers and I got 7,000. And he'll go up and go booty clap in his jeans and act like he's down and act all cool, even though he's an adulterer who married a rich woman and he's still asking for $750 an hour. That's why he stepped down from being a judge during his adulterous divorce scenario. He had to step down being a judge, and he was a judge over family law cases. And then he cheated on his wife, and he's going through his own divorce. And he says, I didn't know how bad divorce was until I went through my own. Yeah, because you were the narcissist perpetrator. Now you're telling people how to deal with narcissism. And he has some true information and stuff, but go ahead and pay $750 an hour to go talk to that guy. He's nice. But I got some real raw answers, and the number one root problem of the answers is to go be brave and courageous. Oh, I can't. Okay, then you're a pussy ass bitch. Because your love for your kids should supersede your comfort or your fear or what you're worried about. On the other side of that dark tunnel of the family court system and the corruption in there is your child. Are you going to go through it? Are you going to be a pussy ass bitch whining about how scary the tunnel looks? I went through the tunnel and I had no idea what I was going through, but I knew my daughter was at the other end. And it turned out, while I did not know what I was doing, it turned out that what I did was the answer that works for everybody. And I'm sitting here trying to tell you guys it worked for me, and I didn't even know what I was doing. And I'm telling you step by step how it worked for me and thousands of other people, and giving you actual documents that I had to draft myself from scratch. and information that I've accumulated over the years, I'm saving you literally months and months of work. And you pussy-ass bitches don't want to do it because you want to say, well, you had it and you're smart, and you can argue stuff and think of stuff off the top of your head. The stuff I can rattle off the top of my head came from actually going and doing this stuff. And you can do it too. Like, you don't got to know everything that I know to win. The stuff I know right now, I didn't know back then, and I was still winning in court. I won most, but I kind of halfway won when the mother didn't get a full-time restraining order, but she got a 2-week temporary one, which doesn't mean anything because it's just an emergency order until there's a final, ruling. I didn't win a slam dunk, but it's still a win because I pushed it off, and then I went to family court and I lost, and then I went and appealed, and they got a continuance, and they played delay games, and then I went to court. I got 5 days a week. Then I got her found in contempt, and then they tried to do discovery, and I turned around. I'm like, oh my God, they could do this? Nobody ever told me about this. Let me do this. Even my mentors didn't tell me about doing discovery. I tell you guys about doing it. I give you a free sample. You can get the paid samples in my store. You got everything at your disposal. You're not winning or attempting to fight or engage in the war because you're a pussy-ass crybaby little bitch. Stop doing that and make a decision that my kids are worth a fight. Even if I lose, at least I'm going down swinging. And the vast majority of people who decide I'm going to go down swinging end up gaining something or winning something. There's no guarantee on this, but it's guaranteed if you continue to reign a pussy-ass bitch, you will not only lose now, you will be in so much pain and suffer and feel suicidal and depressed and have an ulcer or a stroke over this stuff that the pain that you're dealing with the rest of your kid's life until they're 18 doesn't even compare to the pain of just standing up and fighting. There's a little bit of pain and inconvenience for fighting now and fighting for justice and fighting the war right now. And not surrendering to I have guys who surrender to a parenting plan that says the father's visitation is as the parties agree. You got to be a freaking numbnuts, airheaded, low IQ Neanderthal to be able to sign off on that stupid ass bullshit. You got to be a total idiot and a sellout to do that. If the court order says you're going to court to fight because you can't agree on visitation, and the resulting order is my visitation is whatever we agree to. Now, how stupid is that? On top of that, if you actually read it and my sister with Down syndrome can read that and figure that out. How come you can't? That's a sellout position. Because if you have a court order that says no visitation, the father's visitation is whatever the parties agree upon. If the mother doesn't agree to your visitation, you don't get it that day or the next day or the next day. So she has the power to veto your visitation because you got to get her agreeing. But you're stupid, dumbass, punk-ass, bitch-made, brainless coward. I need to just surrender. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? You sold your birthright for a pot of beads. You sold out. You sold out your kids for the comfort and ease on signing whatever they say. Oh, but it was going to be hard. I had to sign at mediation because my attorney said I'll need $10,000 to go to trial. Fire him and go to trial yourself, dumbass. Come on, you stupid idiot. You don't think that there's an actual solution representing yourself? If the mother and her attorney and even your attorney say, you got to sign, we got to get this over with, then they're showing their cards and telling you we don't want to go to trial. So by you turning around and saying, so I'll go to trial. I'll do it for free on my own for 2 or 3 days, and you got to pay your attorney $10,000. I got nothing to lose. I'm on supervised visits or every other weekend. I want 50-50, but there's nowhere for me to go but up. If I go to trial and I might win for free, there's nowhere for me to go but up, and you might go down and lose something. That's a leverage game, but you're so stupid and you're so insecure and you have no self-worth that you think that it's a master move for you to just sign and avoid trial when it's a surrender. If any of you guys saw the movie Braveheart, William Wallace was telling them, let's fight. Some of us will die, but we'll have freedom from now on. We can beat these guys. We beat them in small battles. If we all band together, we can overthrow them. But they're a bunch of pussy-ass bitch aristocrats saying, no, we need to negotiate. And so every time they negotiate, they're giving England, they're from Scotland, right? Scotland was conceding land to England, and they're encroaching, and they're encroaching, and they're encroaching. And they're living life like slaves. They're in peace to a point, but those guys get to lord over them and tell them what to do. If Canada came down and took Washington, Idaho, Montana, Minnesota, and New York, and we said, okay, we'll all just move to more southern states, take that and be happy, do you think they're going to, or a Hitler, do you think he's going to say, oh, okay, I'm satisfied, that's good enough? No, they're going to keep pushing and pushing. If you surrender your kid or the control to the mother, that doesn't give you peace. That gives her total domination to you for the rest of your life until the kids are 18. But do what you want to do. Be a pussy-ass bitch. There's enough guys out there that I'm going to reach. 1 out of 100 that watch this are going to say, you know what? I'm tired of being a sissy and a coward. I'm going to stand up to this. I'm going to stop doing it. Or guys who watch this, and they're like, I don't want to get stuck like that. Let me fight from the beginning the right way. And they got a great chance to do it. You didn't follow your conscience. I followed my conscience and didn't listen to lawyers. So a lot of you guys, that's another one of the excuses. Well, lawyers told me this, lawyers told me that. I got a whole video where I say that's not an excuse. If a lawyer tells you you have no equal right to your kid, you should say, what the hell are you doing being a lawyer telling me I got to surrender? Didn't you become a lawyer to fight? How come you're not going to fight? Why should I pay you $400 an hour to give in with a quitter mentality and a pussy-ass bitch-made surrender to the mother mentality? Why? Attorneys told me I'll get every other weekend. When I went to court and got my first court order, it was 5 days a week. They said I'll get every other weekend. And I told them I live 3 blocks away and I work at night. I revolved my life around my kid so that it was a win. There's no way I could lose. Now, those of you who can't change your job or whatever, you still shouldn't be on supervised visitation. There's still something more you could fight for. You can still fight for 50-50, especially if you live close by. I know there's going to be people in comments that say, I love your videos, I just don't like your harshness. Get the frick off my page. I don't give a shit. If I'm not talking about you, you don't have to worry about it. And you could read through here and get the free information. Again, if I was giving you a treasure map to a pot of gold worth $10 million, you would ignore all this other stuff and you wouldn't care. You would only care about the golden treasure that I'm going to give you the secret access to. How much more important is the golden treasure of your restored life with your kids? You can't handle me talking like this because it hurts your butt hurt little pussy thin skinned feelings? What the hell is wrong with you? That's the root of the problem, is guys who don't want to fight. If you have a weapon, look at the Saving Private Ryan. In that movie, it was war. Nobody wants to kill somebody else. Nobody wants to be killed. Nobody wants to be in a war. They talked about while they're fighting, I just want to go home. What do you do to go home? It's kill or be killed, and you fight till you're allowed to go home. What do you do in your family court case? You fight, it's kill or be killed until, not literally obviously, but you fight with every weapon available. But a lot of you guys are like that little runt in the movie who was carrying the bullets, and I can't remember if he was a medic or something. He was a young kid. I did a video on this. Watch the one that says Saving Private Ryan analogy. The kid said, we can't do this. We got to let him go. And I show you the clips, I think, in there. We can't do this. We got to let this German go. They let the German go. Next time we saw that German in the movie, he's stabbing and killing one of those guys who didn't kill him. And that's what your baby's mom is doing. Your little pussy like that one guy. We can't do this. This is wrong. I know we're in the middle of a war, but this isn't wrong. He's a human being. Yeah. Who's going to kill you if you don't kill him? It's ugly. War is hell. But that's the reality of it. Here you are. If you don't kill him, he's going to kill you. And that's what happened. And the little runt, little sissy bitch, he watched the guy kill his comrade because he was scared, and he had a whole belt full of bullets. He could have picked up a gun and shot him right there. And he didn't rescue his fellow man. And the German, I guess he allowed him to live and didn't try and kill him. He's like, you're the one who helped me live, so I'll just walk by you. But he kind of walked by him with, looked at him pathetically, killed the guy, walked away. And then the guy with the bullets is like crying. Now later he kills the guy in the movie. So that, they do a dramatical thing. So people are like, yay, killed him finally. And built up the villain or whatever. But it's a great lesson. That's exactly what happens in family court. I don't want to fight. I want to be nice. I'll let the mother go. She committed domestic violence and stabbed me and falsely accused me of domestic violence, and I went to jail. But I want to have another kid with her, and I want to be nice. Right back to jail. Now you're on supervised visitation. You could have worked it out and signed a parenting plan when you got back together with her, but you're such a freaking numbnuts, low IQ Neanderthal bitch who's led by his penile, urges, that you don't have the sense that God gave a monkey or my sister with Down syndrome, and you didn't agree to a court order when you got back with her. If she agrees and say, okay, let's agree to a court order in case things fall out. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, then she shows her true cards. But you guys don't think about that common sense, normal thing that guys do that aren't thinking with their sex drive. You need to get above animal instinct. You need to use some common sense. You have to actually care about your kids, use some common sense, and defer your sex drive or your need for pleasure or your need for comfort and not wanting to fight, and grow some balls and be a real man. The analogy in Saving Private Ryan, again, or even in Braveheart, there's always these pussy sissy cowards on the fringes criticizing, let's just make peace and not war, and let's work stuff out. And when you surrender, the other side just takes more and more. When you give, think about those of you who can't follow along what I'm saying right now. Think about a scenario at school. A bully punks you for your lunch money, and you give the bully $2 instead of $1, hoping he'll go away. And then he looks at, oh my God, this is so easy. Let me keep bullying him. That doesn't make him go away, dummy. Well, let me give the mother more. Maybe she'll go, let me give her more. Pussy, 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 coward, pussy, I'm scared, coward, pussy stuff. And so it never even occurs to you at mediation, oh my God, the mother is pushing me to settle because she does not want to go to trial. My attorney doesn't want to go to trial, so he never was going to fight for me in the first place. So even if I had the money, he would sell me out. I should just do this myself. I could walk into court and just tell my story for free, and the mother has to pay her attorney $10,000 and she doesn't have it. So now I have leverage to negotiate with her and say, I'm not settling with you unless I get 50-50. This every other weekend bullcrap, you can screw that. I got that already. Why would I settle on what I already got? That's an automatic for me. But see, you dumbasses in the middle of your fear won't wake the hell up and set aside your fear for a minute and think logically. You're so overcome with fear. You're so overcome with being a henpecked little bitch and being, you have this Jezebel spell cast on you. And I know I can hear everybody's feelings getting hurt. God, this guy won't stop with the punk ass bitch stuff. And that's the root of the problem. If the problem was just the evidence rules, I'd be breaking down the evidence rules. But I already give you guys the evidence rules and you don't object to the violations. What's the problem? You're either stupid or you don't put the energy. And anybody can overcome being stupid by studying hard and putting this stuff together, or getting a consult with me and say, look, I don't know what to say, or I freeze up, or I get nervous, or I don't know how to deal with this stuff, and get a consult with me and learn how to deal with it. If you want to learn how to drive a car, you don't say, oh, well, all those guys who got licenses, they had it easier than me. I struggle with grasping some of this stuff on the test. Get in the car and drive and learn how to drive and practice. Oh, I can't shoot a basket I miss. Go out on the court and practice. God, this is so, I can say it a million different ways, but it's the root of the problem. And you know it. You're only making excuses and saying, well, James had it easy, or James's guys had it easy, or the mother must have been on crack. My baby's mom had a journalism degree. Now she has a degree in human resources. She's a manager. She was making $90,000 a year. At one point, she was making over twice as much as what I was making. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do drugs, didn't do any of that stuff. She's a psychotic narcissist. And I destroyed her because I did the one thing that typically works. Got on the offensive, went to war, and fought, and fought, and fought. And because I couldn't quit on my daughter like a crybaby little bitch, I fought even when it looked like I was losing, because I had nothing else in life to do but to fight for my kid. And it turned out that the way that I fought is the way that people win. And the way that I fought in 7 months could have been consolidated. I could have done discovery right away. I could have done a motion to quash on the original restraining order. And then I could have come out with all the allegations, or all the evidence of how women lie about protection orders all the time and abuse protection orders, and got her sanctioned. Now, she still never tried it. Well, she didn't succeed at a restraining order. She tried 6 other times to get a restraining order. I could have shut that down. If I would have had me giving advice at the time when they tried to object to my relocation, I would have just never notified her of my relocation. I thought I had to do that because I had to be a good little boy and follow the law. But if I never would have told her, she had abandoned our daughter after I got custody. She had abandoned our daughter for a year and a half. Nobody would ever known. But see, these are the type of clever things that I know, and the tricks of the trade that I know that I could share with you. But you don't want to get an appointment, so you don't want to learn them. And you go to court and lose, and you don't learn everything that you need to know. And you're saying, well, there's no chance of me winning. You took a loser route. You took a quitter route. You took a softball, tender, gentle, tiptoe through the tulips, bitch-made coward route and lost, and that's a losing route. And you're complaining you can never win because you're taking the losing route. Are you getting it yet? Do you want to fight for your kids? Do you want to win? See, because I'm weeding out all the guys who are overly sensitive. If this hurts your feelings, it's really going to hurt your feelings when the mother comes to court and says you're a monster, and the judge believes you, and the judge chews you out, and the guardian lion chews you out. You can either get some thick skin and know these people are your enemies, and they're psychotic weirdos, and you're not going to change their mind. You could go for it. And I hurt the judge's feelings one time. I had a judge mad at me and the mother, and when I got 5 days a week, the judge said, how could you people be fighting over a kid that's only a few months old right now? Look at all this paperwork. Grow up, people. And then she goes, James, you're entitled to a great deal of visitation. And to the mother, she goes, Sid, Miss Wright, when he comes over, you should be happy that he's trying to see his kid instead of trying to fight him. So I got admonished for like 20 seconds. And most of you guys are worried that you might get a judge saying something like that. And then I walked away with 5 days a week with my kid. Do you think I gave a shit about a 20-second lecture from a judge that I never saw again for the rest of my life? You pussy-ass bitches are scared that a judge might say something like that. And they might say something like that while giving you custody. You're afraid of the boogeyman. Stop being a bitch and grow some balls. And at least when the other side cheats, stand up and object. And if they say you can't object now, save it for later, then use my argument to shut that down. If you don't know what my argument is, get a console or watch all my videos. It's all out here for you. All the answers are here. If you don't want them, you're going to lose, and it's your fault. If you want them, you give yourself the best chance to win if you apply them and do them. Period. End of story.